he's triggering a kid that's pissed from before him. Even that guy is.
That's right.
Right? Do you think the kid's pissed from before that?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea, like a parent thing? Do you have an idea of like...
I don't think I've ever shared this.
I think you're about to be shocked by the video that you're about to see. What happens when someone who rescues children from child trafficking, someone who's done some of the most heroic acts, stepped up and made major change on the planet, decides to get vulnerable, open up his heart, and allow himself to be rescued internally? I'm sure you've heard of Tim Ballard by now. He's the subject of the movie The Sound of Freedom, which is a movie that's doing very well in theaters right now. This to me is a conscious change. The reason is we lived in a world where this existed for years and a lot of people didn't want to do anything about it. Now we're open to hearing it, and you cannot find the power to change things until you fully understand and acknowledge that it exists. And now we live in a time where people are going to theaters in droves to learn and bring light to the fact that child trafficking exists. If you want to see Tim Ballard be vulnerable and open his heart to me and actually be willing to kind of do a coaching session and heal his childhood trauma, you got to watch this clip. Enjoy a hero being even more of a hero as Tim Ballard opens his heart and shares his story and transcends his past right in front of us from the event we did back in March called Freeing All Children Inside and Out. And if you want to see Tim and I together in Salt Lake City, you can see another Freeing All Children Inside and Out 2-day event. Make sure you watch this and then grab tickets to see us live. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the amazing Mr. Tim Ballard from Operation Underground Railroad. Hey, brother.
Thank you.
So good to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah.
Do you want to do Q&A with me? Or other
Sure.
video, but
You want to do that now?
every good story will come out if we just talk.
Sure. You want me now?
Yeah.
All right. He asked me to stay. I would be honored, brother. I didn't know if you wanted to do a thing and then, or you want to do this.
Thank you guys so much. It's so good to see all of you. I just made the request for Kyle to stay as I was walking on the stage because I could do a presentation, but the best interview I've ever participated in, ever, and I've done so many, was with Kyle. No, really, and I hear it all the time. I don't know what, he just asked the right questions. I said things that, I kind of had you remember this. It was kind of an experience like I just witnessed, okay, in some ways. Doing the work we deal with a lot of heaviness, a lot of darkness, a lot of, desire to be free. And I know you remember this because it was profound, I think, for both of us. I came away like feeling very healed myself. And that wasn't the point of the interview. The point of the interview was to talk about what we're doing and how, because Kyle wanted to help support our rescue mission, but I ended up walking away like a new person. And so as I walked on the stage, I thought, why don't we just talk? Because I don't know, everything's going to come out that needs to come out if you're here.
I would be honored.
That's what I think. So,
How you feeling?
I feel wonderful. I feel great. Yeah, I feel grateful. I don't know how much of you, how much you all know about Operation Underground Railroad. We have teams all around the world. The sun never sets on our operations at this point, and we fight human trafficking. We look to rescue children and women who have been kidnapped, trafficked, and we do everything that's legally possible. Whether it's doing training, providing resources, or oftentimes we go deep undercover. I spent a decade or more as an undercover operator for the U.S. government, so that was my angle, was how to infiltrate these organizations and then extract these people from physical slavery, and then begins the extraction process from the emotional slavery, right? And that's where we have a lot of aftercare. And I forgot, on the process of doing operations, you almost feel guilty, thinking, well, whatever my pain is nothing compared to the people we're helping. And that kind of puts you into a state of almost guilt for like thinking something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff builds up.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot's wrong with me, right?
You came during lunch, but we actually had a woman in the audience. It was amazing. Ask a question about, she was talking about, you know, almost like it's hard to feel the light when slavery is going on, right? It's hard to feel this. So it was almost like, and that became a talk. We were talking about how, you know, there's a feeling of not deserving that we're actually also using, that because other people are suffering, I shouldn't be free. And the ironic twist is your freedom will do so much more to heal that than you also keeping yourself in your guilt story, right?
Correct.
Like, I hear you, and I would imagine you go through that all the time, and just like, it feels weird, I don't mean to like coach you in this, but I could just tell you that like, you are so allowed to feel what you feel too, because in God's world, the feelings that are there exist, right? And whatever you're feeling, you're allowed to feel, and it doesn't negate what anyone else is feeling, right? Just in response to that, it feels weird to tell you that, but just because you missed that chunk earlier,
Yeah.
like I wanted you to hear that was a principle of this, and that there's a lot of people that go, someone has it worse than me. Well, with that theory, even people that are being trafficked could come up with someone else that has it worse than them. And we could always keep doing this, and nothing gets healed. And we have an amazing opportunity to heal ourselves, right? By being like, what you feel, you deserve to feel too. You know, was the principle of the talk. I feel like I hope it doesn't sound like I'm.
I accept all coaching from you. Are you kidding me? Like, I want that. I want that. Believe me. So no,
Wow.
I love that. I appreciate it, and it was, you know, it was hard for me to get to that point. Actually, 2 years ago is when about 2.5 years ago is when I really started realizing that I've been carrying way too much darkness and doing nothing to get it out. So it was about that time when I met you and we started talking, and so.
Yeah, man. Is any there? Do you want to do stuff with it?
Sure.
Like I'm honestly trying to assess the level, because I so respect you and want to make sure that I'm not like, oh, watch me become a coach of the thing, but I actually can't tell if you're turning to me going, inside there's a thing here. And so we can do stuff with it, but it's if you want that. And I also just really want to honor.
Well, you guys, I mean, I want to make sure you get to understand what we do in our mission, but I'm also very, very curious about what's going on right here. So. All right, let's do it.
Yeah. You want to do something?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a new level of hero right there. Tell me just what you're feeling in this moment.
I live in this world of like,
He's new.
Give me some context. You never begin a sentence, I live in this world. Is that the lesson?
So one of the things that was an earlier principle in this is that if I were to say to you, it's kind of fun, we can have a combination of like something awesome and a little review, right? If I were to say to you, this person is angry, and I say this person's angry because someone cut him off in traffic, with this person who's angry, what are we going to focus on?
His hurt.
His hurt, yes. Yeah. If I say this guy's angry because someone's going to cut him off in traffic, what are we going to focus on?
On the jerk who cut him off.
On the jerk who cut him off. So when we go to a reason for our feeling, we actually leave the feeling. It's actually a way to keep the feeling there, right? And the reason everyone jumped was when I said, what are you feeling? We've had several examples of people leaving their feeling and going a long time ago or whatever.
I see.
And in your body right now, And in your body right now, in all of our bodies right now, is just literally in this moment, just feelings, right? So the feeling could be excitement, it could be overwhelmed, it could be scared, it could be lost, it could be tired. And by the way, we've created and become such an incredible space of unconditional love. In fact, I have to say that for Tim Ballard to have created such a powerful thing and have even some interest in any vulnerability that's past what he's established is like a new level of hero, right? Right? Like and if there is some, and I just acknowledge in this consciousness time, like there are characters that we've created that, or things that we needed to do to move forward. Like for you at one point, maybe leaving your government job to create OUR was a step forward. A thought that comes up is sometimes when we do it, it's like, that's like going from 3rd to 4th grade. Like I felt this new calling. But then because we went from 3rd to 4th grade, it was so amazing. We can get attached to 4th grade while our body starts to move to 5th grade. And so whatever we got, this was my God, this step forward is suddenly like what we're stuck to. And our pain is that our body might be ready to advance to a higher level. So there might be some level of letting go of something that at one point was a good thing, an energy of whether it's delegate something or let go, or just you be seen more, or you be resting more, or held more, whatever. And for all of you, like it's so easy to go, man, when I leapt to that thing and then became this thing, and then go, so that's my God now. And it was so perfect with what Kim Durama was talking about like how much we make away our God. Oh, it's when I meditate every day. Oh, it's when I eat this way, right? And that life is trying to get you past that now because you already learned that. So if there's stress or suffering, it might be going, I need you to even let go of some attachment to a way that at one point was actually your highest calling. Does anything show up for you when I say that?
Yeah. So to answer, I'm going to go back to your first question, how do I feel?
Yeah.
And it ties into this. So I feel like a combination of two things.
Okay.
One, gratitude. I feel so much gratitude because this is a room of light. I recognize quickly light because of the darkness we're exposed to.
Yes.
And when we started OUR, the dark was darker than I thought. It was because we broke away from bureaucratic restraints. So that allowed us to do things that I dreamed of doing for 10 years as an agent, but that bureaucracy, jurisdictional limitations stopped. So now we're free to roam and do what's needed to be done. I didn't know how dark it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know how evil and how much pain existed in the world of human trafficking, even after 10 years of it in the government, because I was almost protected even in a bubble. And so when I find people of light, I'm just so grateful, and I just want to like the young lady out here who just didn't want the conversation to end, right?
Yeah.
Like I just want to sit here, like and bask in the because the beautiful thing about being a public organization or being a private organization allows us to go public. And so while the dark got darker, the light got way lighter because I got to partner with you. I got to partner with people who flooded us with prayers and light and beautiful things. And so so my first thought is thank you. I'm grateful that there's people that exist that you even have the guts and the ability and the desire to help us. You know, I just heard the story earlier. It reminded me how you heard something and then you grabbed it and researched it and then just went for it. You know, and you've blessed us so much. And so thank you. The other thing I feel is, and often it's accompanied when I'm with people of light, like the desire for where I want to go, what I want to detach from. And my probably biggest problem is being able to forgive people.
Yeah.
Because when you see people do such dark things,
Yeah.
it is really hard. Because then you see the people being hurt, and you see people doing things that they're intentionally trying to hurt children
Yeah.
or hurt the vehicle that's rescuing children, and they'll do anything to take it down. It's something, I can't explain it outside of like spiritual warfare. Like I don't think it makes sense if you can't see beyond,
Yeah.
what mortals can see, because it's so nuts, right? And so sometimes where I get stuck, if I'm trying to get from 4th grade to 5th grade, it's my inability to forgive.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn how to forgive people,
Yeah.
so I can move on. That's tough for me.
Okay, I got a couple things for you, if you want it.
Yes.
I love you, brother,
Yes.
first of all.
Thank you.
I'm just so thankful to be with you. So I actually picture, as you go into these things that you do, these dark energies that you feel that are picked up, right? And then you come into this room and you just feel it's a room full of light, right? I'd love to offer, first of all, for you to receive the energy in whatever form, even if it's just being, and actually let it get into the body and bring up any of the dark, right? Like, imagine if you can see your scene, when you're on that higher frequency, whether it's through the space that's being held here or whatever, when you leave kind of a dark world and you go to a higher one, it kind of wants to purge out the dark world, right? That might be hard when the fear might be, I might need some of the dark world to keep doing this. Right? Like the belief might be, if I let go of the dark world, will I still go do this? Will I still rescue kids? Do you feel there's any truth in that?
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So,
It's like I can't step out of it, because if I do, who will I not see
right.
to help? Yeah.
Do you think there's a belief? God, I love doing this, and I love being with you right now, man. This is amazing. Do you believe that that's how God works? That God says the only way for these kids to be rescued is for you to keep holding on to a dark energy in your body?
No.
Let's honor it for a second. Let anything come up that wants to come up.
I mean, I feel like at least an answer came just now.
Okay, what's that?
To fulfill my purpose, I actually don't need to fight darkness. I just need to be light.
Wow. And to fight darkness, you'd have to keep darkness.
Yeah,
You'd have to keep judgment.
right,
You'd have to keep hate. That's why you can't forgive.
right. It's
Right?
a cool concept, right? I mean, if you're just light, darkness doesn't exist.
Right,
It can't come into your world.
right.
But you know who's the lightest? The people who generate the most light that I've seen are people who are victims.
Right.
And I don't know why that is. I believe it's because I think they're surrounded by angels like nobody. A child in slavery. And it's like there's an attraction. Like, I want to get to that. I feel a light the closer I get, even
Yeah.
though it's, but you can actually, I need to figure this out. I don't know how this applies yet, but I just know it's truth because I
Yeah.
felt it so strong. But there's a way to
And check this out. You don't need to figure this out. Like the you that had to figure it out. You know God's got it,
yeah.
right? I don't mean to interrupt.
No.
Because
Yeah.
what you're saying is so big, but also I think that stress is in your body and it's not truth, right? I need to figure this out,
Yeah.
right? Like, who's the I that has to figure it out? And if they don't figure, let me ask you this, in the pattern in the body, because that's your child, right? If he doesn't figure this out, if I don't figure this out, what does that mean about me in your past? It doesn't even have to be about the rescuing. Like, if I don't figure this out, because I heard a pattern say that, then I am what? Like to my parents in my childhood or in life. If I don't figure
I fail. I don't succeed.
So take a deep breath in, and I want you to say to the pattern, you're allowed to fail in my body.
You're allowed to fail in my body.
Yeah, it's never known that. It's never known it's loved even if it fails. Is that true?
Yeah.
Now you're actually connecting to it, because I know you know, the universe or God is not going, I only love you if you don't fail. In fact, that's the pushing away of love until you accomplish some arbitrary thing. That has been an amazing gift for a long time, and it's gotten tons of kids rescued, and it's done so many things, and it's caused you to have the courage to go in there under the belief that if I don't, then I fail, and then I'm not enough, or I die if I fail. Now, there's the fear of risk. If we let go of that, do we still do this, or does this still happen?
Yeah.
I know that a higher solution will do more way faster. It's hard to believe, but I know that from love, you will have higher level ideas, next steps, guidance, maybe delegating so you can relax a little bit, right? And that you don't have to be the one. But imagine if you were allowed to fail. Doesn't mean you will aim for it, doesn't mean you'll do it. You'll just do it more from love, right? Yeah. What does that feel? What are you feeling?
Well, I feel relieved because, especially this year, I'm entering this place where I'm running out of disguises to go undercover. I'm being very serious.
Literally
Nikki,
and
can you show
figuratively.
some pictures of my disguises? I don't know if you have.
Those are just letters. That's a terrible disguise.
That's a really bad disguise. I wear that shirt and
just like
it actually busts me out.
Oh, we're just making a regular deal with a bunch of letters. Oh, Tim Ballard. And I would have gotten it away with it if it weren't for you.
So then,
wow. So Kate Winslet does your hair.
yeah,
That's amazing.
Between movies, yeah, she's.
Yeah.
It was. So this is an undercover operation we did a few months ago. It's part of a docu-series that's coming out because it was so crazy what happened in this case, and that face. So that's me. That's Brian. We call him Brian Black. He died in this operation, so he can't come back because it got too visible. But go back to the picture of the target because that was supposed to come up apparently because right when I've been thinking about him as we were talking.
Yeah.
This guy, he's sitting in a Mexican jail right now, sending death threats to me and my family. They land every couple of weeks, and we took him down in that operation. And that's one of the people, I've got to figure out how to forgive. This guy he runs a political party or ran a political party in Holland whose goal was to legalize sex with children. He believed children as young as 3 years old should be available for sex. And he fought, got arrested in Holland, which is you got to do really bad stuff in Holland to get arrested, okay? And he goes off to he becomes a fugitive because they gave him his passport. He was arrested for all sorts of child crimes. Him and his 4 buddies take off, and I don't mean to take us off. I want to go back to the path, but it's gonna circle back in the right time, just like our interview did, if you remember. It kept happening. It was beautiful. But
I have one thought that I'm
Yeah.
just going to throw at you.
yeah,
Would you just say this because the kid that you're saying I want to forgive?
yeah,
Okay. That kid wants to forgive because it feels something, right? What does that kid feel before we have the solution? The kid inside of you that wants to forgive feels, because wanting to forgive is a solution, right?
right.
To what?
What the kid wants right now.
Right, like if it's like that we're trying to find forgiveness
Yeah.
because I feel,
Pissed.
okay.
Injustice.
So
He never should have lived on this earth, this guy.
Yeah.
Right? But God put him here, so I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Apparently he's supposed to be here.
Right.
This is the
So deep breath in.
and now he's threatening to kill me.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's go. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't help the fighting the dark thing,
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's a video I actually did. Someone caught me on stage, and they're talking about they declared war on us, and I didn't mean for this to make it into the video. We can show it. Someone made a video out of it. It's a pretty cool video, but it was not the message I need right now for myself.
Yeah.
And I said in the video on the stage, and I said, you want to declare war? Fine, declare war. Declaration accepted. Come on over. I'll leave the porch lights on. And yeah, it sounds awesome. And I want to, but then it's like, damn it, I'm fighting the dark again,
Yeah.
So it's hard, right? I think a lot of people, a lot of warriors probably deal with this. Like,
Yes.
this is where PTSD can come from, and you just can't. You've got to be all light.
Yeah.
And it's hard, right? So
Before we forgive and we acknowledge that he's pissed, right?
Yeah.
That's the word you said?
he's pissed.
Could you take a deep breath in and tell him, you're allowed to be pissed in my body?
You're allowed to be pissed in my body.
What if we don't force forgiveness? Just don't force forgiveness,
Oh, I like
right? Because the forced forgiveness is the ignoring of a pissed kid.
Yeah.
And instead we just hear from an unconditional now love that he's pissed. And when this dude gives death threats, what do you feel?
Pissed.
Pissed.
Like, I want to go into the jail zone and take care of him. Yeah.
So before we do that, that's where your money's going. Before we do that, do you think that this pissed kid in your body, the pissed kid in your body, will be seen if he has revenge on that guy? Is that the highest level of that he's seen?
Yeah, probably. But that's not right.
I'm going to take you even farther than that. He just wants to be seen by you that it's okay to be pissed.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know from you that he's allowed to be pissed. Imagine if you could feel pissed but not have a reaction externally. Could you be really pissed at someone and then become the presence for the pissed versus you feel pissed and you go do something? Because the belief is that then that pissed child would go away if this dude died. But I promise you, the core reason he's pissed is from before that guy.
Right.
And even though that guy totally should be in jail, and I hear you on that, he's triggering a kid that's pissed from before him. Even that guy is.
That's right.
Right? Do you think the kid's pissed from before that?
Yeah.
Do you have an idea of like a parent thing? Do you have an idea of like...
I don't think I've ever shared this.
I'm honored to be with you, man.
When I got into this work, my whole family was shocked. Like, what are you doing? Because, usually law enforcement, military is like kind of passed down, tradition. We have nothing like that in my family. But as an 8-year-old, from that point on, that's all I was going to do. I was going to be an undercover agent, and help kids. And I don't even know if my parents remember where that came from, but I know where it came from because in December of 1984, I was two guys tried to kidnap me, my brother, in Montrose, California, and I mean, it was like it was a complete transformational moment for me. I mean, everything changed. The world was happy-go-lucky. Everything was great. I lived in a great family, loving everything. And then this happened. And he grabbed my brother. We did a little tug-of-war, and we ran, and they chased. We hid. I mean, the cops got involved. There was a report. And, a few weeks later, I was at the bank with my mom, and this guy walks in, innocent guy, just walks in, and my little brother, I had a 4-year-old brother, he was running across the bank, whatever, and this guy just turned, this cute little kid, he picks him up, and I scream bloody murder, like, he's kidnapping him, and he wasn't. The guy freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, like, and the banker's like, that guy just owns the restaurant down the street, he has an account here, and I thought, I'm screwed. Like, I can't, how do I get out of this, And I think the way I was trying to get out of it was I'm going to just, the rest of my life, I'm going to make sure that what almost happened to me is not going to happen to anybody. And so I've been pissed since then. And I don't think I've ever told that story publicly.
And what you created, which, by the way, this is a great example of how we can create something amazing as a solution. But then also, one of the things I was talking about earlier this morning is how we have a traumatic moment, and then this thing, the body and the child goes, I don't know how to process this, so I need to make sure I never have to feel it again. So we create not only a new person, but a new identity, right? I thought it was fascinating that you said I'm running out of disguises. Because it's not only literally, right? And I want you to know, we're all running out of disguises here. We're all running out of the overachiever, the fixer, the avoidant pattern, the make it happen. We're all collapsing together, right? Into what we truly are. And for that to fall has to be the scene of the boy that was horrified in that moment, right? And what you're doing is seeing him. That's why you never had told that story. He was kind of this unseenness. And one of the things I said that you might like is I don't believe in darkness, I believe in unseenness, right? And the energy that we call darkness is unseenness. And what you're doing is seeing what's going on, which is making it less and less possible for it to happen, right? So what we see as darkness can also have this judgment tone that we're trying to avoid in ourselves. And the dark story that you're now bringing to light, and it's coming out of your eyes, like literally being released, is a moment where if we take the you that's kicking ass at Operation Underground Railroad and is doing these busts, and we take your ability away to do that and everything like that, suddenly we reveal the terror of this kid under those clothing, under that disguise, is a kid. This kid is just scared. What would you say the deepest, before pissed? I want to offer pissed as actually a response to a fear, right? Because it was even scarier than that. So if we take pissed away and we see the kid before we're pissed, what do you think the feeling is in that boy in that moment?
Fear of losing a loved one.
Yeah.
Fear, and it followed me. I mean, my parents think it's funny. They tell stories about how after that point, I would literally, like, it became obsessive. Like, I would check every door in my house 3 times, or I couldn't go to bed.
Wow.
And that even into even my wife was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" We got married. Our first kid was like, the kid. I wouldn't let him go anywhere. You know, I had to learn to. But it's a fear of losing my little brother in the bank, a fear of losing my older brother in that moment of the attempt. It's a fear of losing my own children. And then it's so hard because there's like positives and negatives to all these things, right? That's why you got to work it out. But like the very first operation that we did at OUR after we were freed, my very first case, I'll say, in child crimes when I was in the government, I was given this case where they gave me all these hard drives and I had to look at video imagery. And I was looking at these little boys who were being raped. And I couldn't even believe, I didn't know what we called child exploitation material. We called it child pornography then. I didn't know what that was. And I couldn't believe what it was. I didn't know it was 5-year-olds. I thought it was maybe 16-year-olds. Like, I didn't know, like, this was 25 to 20 years ago. And those children, the first ones I saw they looked just like my kids. Like, that's all I saw. And I fell down I vomited, or I dry heaved technically, into the trash can. I got into my vehicle, government issue, violated a policy, you can't use it for private use. I drove right to my kid's school. I remember I can see the words dentist appointment. I take my 3 oldest kids out. They're like, I don't know, 3rd, 2nd kindergarten, and they have no idea what's going on. I drive home, my wife comes, like, what's going on? Why is everybody home? And I'm just holding my kid, just sobbing. Because that was that fear, that somehow that was going to be them.
Take a deep breath in. Release it. Totally your call if you want to look at this thing.
I do.
You want to look at this last thing?
Yes.
Do you remember what you felt the second that there was an attempted kidnapping on you and your brother? What was it?
It was like a fight or flight, intense stomach pain, which has never gone away, to be honest with you.
Yes.
Every time there's any kind of any kind of anxiety, I get like this bloating thing going. I don't know what it is. And it's always there.
Yeah.
And a very fight or flight and loss of breath and like I said, and then after that, my whole world perspective changed.
Yeah.
Nothing was safe anymore.
The feeling you have was someone was about to be taken from you. Also, was that your brother was going to be taken from you?
They grabbed him. I'm a little faster than him, so I got a little bit. I got a little jump on it, I think. But
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like a tug of war, and we broke free, and we're about the same size, and we just took off. So
Did you say the way you were saying it was like he was about to be taken from you?
correct.
Okay. So there's your brother that's legitimately outside of you, and you have an avatar of your brother inside of you, right? That we're keeping here. I have something for you if you want it. Take a deep breath in and release it, and know that this is not you aiming for it, okay? Like this is not you creating this. We're just freeing whatever this bloating is, the blocked energy. Ready? You're going to say out loud, because you are the one that's sitting here, right? You're not the boy, right? But if you say this out loud, this could be something that opens it up. This is something you've probably never thought of. I want you to say to the energy in the body, they can take my brother away.
They can take my brother away.
And let whatever God wants to do with that, let whatever grip is there be released. One of the things we discovered earlier is they only can take what we're holding on to. And the problem isn't that they're taking them, it's now that we're holding on. So open your hands in your body, open your body, and just let them take your brother away. Because everything you've done in your life has been to prevent that moment from happening. And everything you've done in your life is perfect till now, and I can't wait till you see what you have once that's released. Tell me what you're feeling right now.
Well, it was really scary to say that, by the way.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't just see my brother, I saw my kids, instantly I saw a lot. And so when I was saying they can take my brother, I was saying more than that.
Yeah, it's taking everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
But there's a surprising feeling of liberation too.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
God's got this no matter what.
Yes.
And you got to stop trying to control it.
Yes. And after you said that, it's amazing that it showed you the release. You're still here. You're still their protector. Just wait till we see what God does through you fully.
Can I share a thought?
Yes.
What you just said brought something to mind when you wait to see what God does. That was my first thought of it's okay if they take my brother. But what added to that phrase was because God's got this. And I introduced little Marty to you, and I cried so many tears over him because he represented all of that too. He was the face of what I was going for, but he was the face that represented my brother and everybody else, and my children, and I never, we haven't found him yet, but we've rescued over 500, I believe, over 500 children in Haiti looking for him. And his father learned already the lesson that I just learned right now. And I feel like what he was trying to teach me is the father's little boy, what he was trying to teach me 10 years ago in a story that I'm going to share with you right now, didn't come home until right now. I didn't understand it until right now. I would say it and it with completely just, I couldn't resonate. I couldn't understand it. But I now understand it, which is why the story just came to me, and this is it. After we went to the orphanage and rescued those 26 children, and got my 2 kids out, and the part of the story that I didn't even want to tell you because it's too hard to tell you, but I'm going to tell you now, is, Gardy was supposed to be there. That's why we were going in. It was secondary, and it was a pretty awesome secondary, but it was secondary to rescue the other kids. We were going in there because that little boy was in there. I had just quit my job. I can't tell you, my whole world was that little boy. And the promise I had made to his father a year before that I would never stop until we found his son. A year before going into the orphanage, before we started OUR, I was sitting in a restaurant with the father for the first time, and he told me the story about what happened to his son. And he showed me this picture. That's the last photo. That photo was taken, I think, a week before he was kidnapped. And I asked him, what's being done to find your son? And he said that he walks the streets at night. He arbitrarily picks some neighborhood. He said the darker the better, the more crime-ridden the better. And he just walks and prays to God that he'll hear Gardy cry. And that was all that was being done. And I knew enough about what was happening in the world to know that I could multiply that moment and that pain, what he was feeling, and that solution, which is not the right way to go about it, obviously, finding children. I could multiply it by millions of family members, fathers, mothers, walking through streets, praying to God that they'll hear their children cry. And that's what generated all the hope and everything to start OUR. I don't know that I would have started it with, I don't think I would have, because I had so much to focus on, this little boy who represented so much. And fast forward to February 19th, 2014, first operation, you just saw footage of it. We go to the orphanage. We get the kids out. It's beautiful. It ends in the adoption of my children. It's beautiful. But what wasn't so beautiful is the little boy Gardy was not there. And guess what? The father was waiting in a hotel lobby, waiting for me to bring his son to him. And I think probably a major motivating factor for adopting my children was the fact that he wasn't there, that at least I could bring somebody home. So I haven't told you yet what he tells me, which only made sense right now. And that's maybe the most consequential conversation I've ever had with a human being is about to happen in the lobby of this hotel. I tried to wimp out and tried to call him to give him the bad news, and the phone wouldn't work, of course. It was like, God's like, you're going toe to toe. We knew he was going to be there. We knew it. And we double-checked and triple-checked and he was just not there. He was there, but we missed him. I'm looking at Gesino, and he looks at me, and I don't have to say anything. He looks in my eyes. I can't even. I look like this, but worse. And he starts crying. And I went down, I sat next to him in a chair and at this little table, and we just cried. We didn't say anything. So why was it such a consequential conversation, and what is it that he said that only made sense to me in this moment? I eked out through our tears. I said, we did rescue 26 kids. We got all the kids out. And I was still crying because that didn't seem like that big of a deal in that moment. And I look up at this man, and he's not crying at all anymore. It's like everything disappeared, and I see this light in his eyes. And he's smiling, and I'm like, what is going on? He's like, why are you crying? You just told me you guys rescued 26 kids. And I said, yeah, but I'm kind of thinking about the one that we didn't rescue. And he said, are you kidding? He's like, don't you know what just happened? He said, don't you realize that if my Gardy had not been kidnapped, nothing would have happened, and those kids would all be sold into slavery. All 26 kids would never have been rescued if my Gardy wasn't taken. And then he said the most profound thing that I now understand, and I think I can finally use to heal. He said, if I have to give up my son so that these 26 kids can be rescued, then that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Then, the next day, he proved to me that he meant that because he went to the police station with me, and he went to the unit, the anti-trafficking unit that had just done the operation, and he said, if you cannot find the parents of any of those children who were rescued, and he said this with happiness, and that's what I couldn't understand, that were rescued, he said, in the name of my son, then I will take them home. He took 8 of those children home. And he didn't know. He didn't know how he was going to pay for this. We pay for it. We took over that. We found donors to do that, but he didn't know that in the moment that he did this. So, if I can tell myself that it's okay if they take my brother, because God's got this, I now know how Gesno felt. I got to tell Gesno, Gesno is not just 26 kids that your sacrifice produced. It's 500 plus in Haiti, and frankly, I don't know that we would have even done any of this without the inspiration of your story and the motivation of your sacrifice. We're up to 7,000 people rescued now, and 7. He once told me, and he said, I just know this, Tim. I don't know how I can explain this. I don't know how it makes sense to you, but I know this, that me and Gesno and God, before we came to this earth, made a covenant that this was going to happen so that thousands and thousands could be rescued. And I know when he said that to me, I know he meant it. I know he believed it. I don't know if I believed it until right now. Everybody take a deep breath. I didn't expect any of this when I came on.
By the way, I didn't expect any of this is the only phrase I've heard my entire life. I didn't expect any of this. I want to tell you that even though I was so humbly honored to be able to be a space to offer any help here, I want you to know how much I look up to you and how many aspects of you that inspire me and encourage me. And there's so many things you do that I have never had, and I might be able to in the future, but have never had the courage to do. And we've all had different things, and whatever we had is perfect, but I just hope you know that I love you and I respect you, and I'm so honored to be able to have an event and have that money go to what you're doing, and know that that is bringing such a speeding up of the light of what's going on, and the idea of doing another one would be such an honor. And I hope you hear that I respect you, and there's so much I know that I can learn from you. And your power and what you've done, combined with your humility and willingness to sit in front of us and have real moments with God in front of us, is so unbelievably inspiring. And you have, in ways you don't understand, just rescued, aside from what you can measure, you have just rescued billions more children.
Yes.
Thank you. I feel it's so inappropriate to even say this, but because I know it feels selfish, but I'm not supposed to feel that way. I'm working on that, but I feel like I was rescued today, so thank you.
Oh. My new best friend, Tim Ballard, ladies and gentlemen. Hero, hero, hero.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm honored to be with you, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Tim Ballard.